Eve paints.
Hey folks, welcome to another 3D printing Patreon preview, this time for the month of November. If you're looking for something to print, I have researched the top 100 Patreon campaigns offering 3D printable minis, as well as an additional 41 campaigns I'll include in a lightning round at the end. I searched the term miniatures on Patreon and also used the site stltop.com to find as many as I could. It worked very well. I found so many new ones that some of the top 100 from previous months have been pushed into the lightning round, so make sure you check them out. There's some good stuff in there. I'm thinking of making future videos longer. Let me know what you think in the comments. A quick content warning before we get started. A number of these previews include pin-up style and other objectified models that you may find distasteful. If you don't understand why myself and others find them distasteful, I made a video about the effects of the objectification of women in our society. Links in the description. Number 100 starts us off big, like Winged Tarrasque big. Oh, and that Panda People Kickstarter I mentioned last month nearly tripled its goal of 2,000 euros, so check that out too. Thunderchrome is working on a shantytown this month with different roofs, floors, catwalks, and more. Imperatum Art has been sculpting some nice proxies for Gene Stealer cults this month. A Knight's Cult Captain and a Knight's Cult Soldier with a spear from Legend Builds. The spearman is free for everyone. And here is a preview of Al-Nur, a hero of their Empire of Jagged line. Here's a quite lovely Frisian horse model from Labradorite Wolf, and a much scarier nightmare version of the same from the end of last month. $154 releases their minis for free on Thingiverse. Most recently, a squad of goblins with a shaman, an ogre warlock, as well as some dinos and an intellect devourer. The Eternal Ocean from Void Realm Minis, with models ranging from creepy crawling anglers to straight up cosmic horrors. Colossal Miniatures is on their 4th series of modern-day survivors, and they're managing to pull some pop culture references into their fantasy side as well. Studio DR releases at the end of each month, so here's a squad of Ancient Dark Combat Troopers for October. There is apparently an Armada cruiser on the way as well. It is apparently Gnomevember for role-playing miniatures. They've made 4 gnomes for your enjoyment, with adventurers, an inventor, and an artificer. Velrock Art has been making lizard folk since last video, with a couple fighters, a cleric, and a rogue. Also, a turtle barbarian, and Cobb Vanth from The Mandalorian. Dark Foundry is new on Patreon this month, with their Tide Haunters, Technops Empire, and Sons of Spartania. Peculiar Companions is still working on their Turkic-Mongol themed Dark Elves I showed you last month, but I hear they have some Imperial troops coming in the future. The Bloodborne Eldark from Battle Yak Miniatures are a society devoted to power and knowledge, and trying to recapture a lost age of godlike rule. Dragon Workshop have been working on this Death House for 2 months now, and it's looking pretty good. A bunch of shooty orc buddies from Big Mr. Tong, as well as spacemen in power suits, and every Doom Metal fan's favorite, space skeletons. Orc Chieftain Danaj and Orc Shaman Ragara from Nikki's Hatchery this month. A full goblin army from Kyoshuneko Miniatures this month, as well as Whispers of the Frozen Tundra, a crossover with Papsickel's Miniatures. A Halloween release of Graveyard Terrain from Sable Badger, as well as maze-themed bases, a Skull Throne, and version 3 of a Gasland Starting Gate. A bunch of cute kobolds, eye tyrants, and chromatic dragons from Dice Heads this month. A badass female paladin with 1 mounted sculpt and 2 afoot from Cross Lances. Also, these little festive goblins to get your Christmas season started. We have demon hunters from Crippled God Foundry, and plenty of demons for them to hunt. Black Remnant has sculpted Star Wars Legacy characters Darth Talon, Darth Nihil, and Darth Malady, as well as Jedi Master Pong Krell and others for the month of November. This 2-month project from Outrageous Creations is almost done. Just 1 nun and the base left to finish, and it looks pretty good already. Cursed Forge Miniatures presents Battle for the High Forest, including a Dryad, a Werebear, a Centaur, and a Gold Dragon. A couple Star Wars busts from Rober Roland and Meg. Wasteland Dwarves from Gloomy Kid Minis, as well as some Wasteland Beasts. One of the dwarves has even tamed and taken one of the beasts as a mount. I'm getting some very Nurgle-y vibes from these November Rotten Heroes by Orc King. Poor confused orcs, that's not Gork or Mork. Mushroom things and worse live in Print and Paint's The Cursed Swamp. Watch where you step, lest you end up living there too. It's part 1 of the Ogre Lords from Warplock Miniatures in November. One of the heads even has Shrek ears. These 3 greenskins are the only images I can find of Fabio Schizzo's November release. Biohazard Battle Brothers from Albino Raven Minis, ranging from gas masks to full-on Marshmallow Man suits, with weapons enough for any eventuality. It's a band of monks versus the samurai from Onmyoji, with some suitable scatter terrain to go with it. Here are 3 more of last month's Valkyries from Bombshell Miniatures, and the first of November's Detectives, war veteran Major Jonathan. Titan Troll presents the Goblin Party Bus, that is, a wooden cart being pulled by a troll. Also included are several busts as usual. Three busts and 3 minis from Creature Armory this month, with the busts leaning sci-fi and the minis leaning fantasy. Aether Studios has released a lot of sets this month, including an Alien Lair set, a pretty amazing looking spaceship set, and many more. Here are the Disciples of the Watch I showed a preview of last month from Tiger Skull RPG, which are still available. Next month is Wraiths of the Old. Elven princes with war chariots, a swordsman and his dog, and 6 razor riders to give them a hard time. All from Last Sword Miniatures. It's apparently Artificer Month, and Goonmaster Games is leading the charge with an entire Gnomes Workshop. I guess the Fire Giants RG Sculpt was working on last month were their November release, so here's a peek at next month's Earth Elemental. STL Miniatures presents The Carnival and the Witch. Some skeleton warriors, mounted and on foot, released at the end of last month from Bright Minis, as well as some kobolds from this month. Bite the Bullet presents A Cult of Ancients, and some nice occult-themed scenery to go with them. Here's a recap of Capsule Chibi's October releases. Thanks for the public posts. It makes this job a lot easier. So far, just these Hoverbike Hussars from That Evil One this month. Here's some great sci-fi ruins and craters from Tsarli Factory. It's a race to Rivendell in Chapter 4, Crossing the River from The Printing Goes Ever On, including a bunch of elves, stat blocks, battle maps, and some really nice elven architecture. Code 2 makes nice stuff, but doesn't do public previews until too late for these videos. This is October's release, available until November 15th. Some Rokobo Knights from the end of October for Lion Tower Miniatures. November's theme is Rogues, with 4 different races so far. Schlossbauer has made a variety of different models this month, mostly monsters, with one archer named Erica. A traveler in search of great wisdom. Say no word and pick a card. The fool, just as I thought. The cards never lie. The High Priestess. Oh, I see, I see. What other cards will be drawn from Great Grimoire's November release? Speeders and Troopers from Seb Miniatures, with some good guys to hunt them down too. More mutants for your Ninja Turtles to fight from Prey Collection Studio. It's starting to get festive with Epics and Stuff's Happy Turtles and Dwarven Clauses, and not so happy looking gifts. A Vampire Hunter and a cutesy Necromancer from Twin Goddess Miniatures. Cobra Mode's Hanzaki has a gun this month, and he's not the only one. And I have to say, these platy people are seriously wonderful. The Wog is strong in Gearguts' mech shop. Forest Dragon has sent reinforcements for their little vampire army. A mighty lord, an old blood vampire, and another necromancer. Not to mention a baleful carriage, the final word in vampire luxury. A bunch of cyberpunk models on Papsikel's sci-fi tier, including a nice Akira-style bike, and on the fantasy tier, the Frozen Wastes, a crossover with Kyoshu Neko Miniatures and the Arcane Gearsmith. Here are the latest minis Ill-Gotten Games has been working on for their game Pocket Tactics. They've also been updating some of their older townspeople as well. Oral, the Frost Maiden, the Goddess of Winter, has joined the collection from Yasashi Kyojin Studios, and here is a work-in-progress image for Alamia. Here's a finished Drider from Manuel Boria, and a late work-in-progress image for a Dire Troll. Drogar Infantry and Elite, as well as Undead Horses and Riders from Asgard Rising this month, as well as Burial Grounds Terrain. An army of gnolls has just emerged from the White Werewolf Tavern, with custom bases and busts as usual. Just a work in progress so far, but as you can see, Eva, better known as Madam Whiskey from Ritual Casting this month, is a successful businesswoman, and a real classy lady to boot. 3 more halflings from 1 gold piece this month, including another militia member, a rogue monk, and a druid with his trusted companion, as well as another of the beasts that's been haunting them. Here are some finished images of Dark Realm's Castle Dracul, which I could only show you a work in progress of last month. And here are some images of the town of Vladivostok for this month. Some little shacks with thatch roofs, as well as some tumble-down ruins tiles, and a goblin watchtower from Gamescape 3D. The Jungle Darkness Mother and her mutant baby spiders come to haunt your dreams from Print Your Monsters this month. Another set of great and free OpenForge tiles from Masterwork Tools. This month, a stone brick cottage. Some Squires and War Machines from Monstrous Encounters Fantasy tier, and Lieutenant Rip and Xenobulls on the sci-fi side of things. Raven Twin has released Pathfinders, Kestrel Knights and Eagles, and a giant tree man this month. But they've also started a new sci-fi tier with what I can only describe as some sort of space elves. The Undead Blackwatch are rising from Highlands Miniatures this month, including a captain, bannerman, and I think the last one is supposed to be the musician. So far from Vevictus Miniatures this month, we have a Goblin Artificer, a couple Dwarven Miners, and some Scattertrain to go along with them. Crazy Cannibals come to eat your flesh and wear your bones from Bestiarum Miniatures, and the Gileot, a hungry, mindless hulk that feeds on the sacrifices to their dark gods. It's Doggo Month from Duncan Shadow, with Beagle Gunslingers and Clerics, and Corgi Fighters and Spearmen. Also, a bit of terrain to add some verticality to your game. .3D Art Guy did a Sultry Sirens pack for November. Red Riding Hood was the only one I was willing to put in my video. Malignix, a great Dracolich from Comet Lord Miniatures, as well as Somnari Reavers and a bunch of different poses for Xenagos, the Chosen Host. A cadre of thieves and assassins to challenge your players with from RN Studio this month. Beautiful beasts and hunters as usual from the Dragon Trapper's Lodge, this time including an arcane dragon, gargoyles, an owl griffin, and more. Printed Obsession presents The Witch of Ravenhold's company of unique and unusual followers, including sword wraiths and a pumpkin beholder. Epic Miniatures is living up to their name as usual, releasing an epic number of minis for you to print, this time with an undead theme. Clay Cyanide is doing the Legend of King Arthur for November, including Arthur, Merlin, Guinevere, Lancelot, Anglo-Saxon invaders, and even Kilgara, the Great Dragon, amongst others. Lots of stuff from Gomek this month, but no single image preview, so I can't show them all. He's got pirate themes on the fantasy side, and some mechs and dogs amongst others on the sci-fi side. To go with November's miniature release, Rocket Pig Games has added the Taurus Shaman and Gremlins to their Tuskland sourcebook, as well as provided 5th edition datasheets for their God of Fear and Dragon Kraken models. It's Cyberpunk ladies and the motorbikes who love them from Unit 9 this month. Anvil Digital Forge's November theme is Cyberpunk, with multi-part infantry figures, characters, and scatterterrain. A steampunk trio is the most recent release from Mia K, with an elven gunslinger, a human noble, and an elven alchemist. This month, her patrons are voting for which celestial beasts they would like her to sculpt. The Coatl Guard from Lost Kingdom Miniatures are the elite Saurian troops of Tenochtitlan, with a squad of 10 guard and a command group. Also beware the Ahuatli and the Clotyi armored beasts. Lord of the Print with their majesty on display in these red dragons, Cthulhu himself, and 3 little dogtopuses? Initial November previews from the Maker's Cult show some Valor Corps Sergeants, a Legionary Champion along with a wide array of Legionary weapons, a Dark Techno Archaeo Priest, and a bunch more. Be wary when at sea, for you know not what lurks in the depths of the abyss. The November release from Mini Monster Mayhem. Cast and Play is doing a cosmic horror collection for November, including heroes, monsters, and as usual, some incredible modular floor tiles and walls. In the Badlands on the outskirts of Titan City, survival is hard, and the music is harder. Some Mad Max-inspired gangs and vehicles from Cyberforge Miniatures this month. Are you ready for some serious cyberpunk badassery? Heroes Infinite doesn't like to do things like everyone else, and now they've applied their visionary genius to sci-fi as well, to produce some of the best cyberpunk minis I've ever seen. Descent into Madness from Arch-Villain Games features an enlightened encephalid leader, a colossal slithering worm, a host of psionic monsters, and many more, including the uber-mega-gargantuan nautiloid ship. MZ4250 is updating his metallic dragons this month. So far we have the Brass Dragon, the Bronze Dragon, and the Copper Dragon, each with 6 poses. Also some patron requests, and he gives them away for free, so definitely support MZ4250. The Noble Dragon Guard from Artisan Guild are an ancient order of Dragonblood Knights who have sworn allegiance to Gaomir, the ancient and supreme dragon god. And finally, inspired by the ancient courageous tribes, Titanforge presents Tribal Barbarians, rich with cultural details, as well as some village terrain and 3 new Titans of Adventure as usual. And that was the top 100 3D printing Patreon campaigns. As promised, it's time for the lightning round. Here are 41 more campaigns with just a name and an image. Space Legates. Model Monster. Soldiers of Fortune. Epic Adventure Miniatures. Ilhadiel. Maddox. Panzer Printer. Magori Miniatures. 2 Gargoyles Studio. Maddox Historical Miniatures. Zandoria Studios. Dadi Dungeon and Dintorni. Noximus's Tabletop. Crucible of Games. LP Miniatures. Oyvind TK 3D Miniatures. Heroes and Beasts Miniatures. Deathhaven. Polygrim. Red Nebular. Mojibake Miniatures, Warblade Studio, Jamie Corte, Dragon's Lake Miniatures, Art of Mike, Gangfight Games, Cult of Pickle, Don Whitaker, Lost World Miniatures, Edge Miniatures, Village's Hope Miniatures, Omega Models, Minigame Miniatures, The Dork Factory, Red Dawn Miniatures, Kraken's Vault, The Mini DM, CERT Studio, Unholy Trinity, Sark's Foundry, and Jeremy Smith. Thanks for watching, everyone. Check back next month for more tabletop printing goodness.